Hi guys, can you hear me now? Anyone there? Okay, can hear you. That's great. Okay, apologies for that. I'm no... Oh, damn hamsters. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, apologies once again. We have some people back. Loud and clear. That's great. I think it's YouTube that is messing me about because it's not the internet, because the internet is working on my computer. It hasn't. The internet hasn't dropped. It's YouTube. It's the second time it's happened. Maybe I just have to do shorter streams. I don't know. Welcome back, everyone. Apologies for that. So, I just want to move on to the... Before we move on to the next topic, I just want to... You know, it's a bit of a break, but we'll have our little break now. So I'll just paste this in.
Yes.
Yes, another YouTube live stream. We're okay. So probably your stream. YouTube mucked Graham about, left his stream on for hours after it ended. Oh my god! I think it actually happened to me once. I was doing a live stream and I'd forgot to it was some months ago. I'd forgot to actually, or I tried to end the stream, but it didn't end. I thought it had ended, and then I went to bed and came back the next morning, and the stream was still running, and it had, you know, registered 8 hours or something like that. I was like, oh my god. Okay. Well, Max is back. Yes, I'm back. Apologies for that. I think it's YouTube messing me about because my internet did not go down. So, okay, I want to just show you this funny. Got rid of the big donation. Apologies for that. Yeah, it doesn't appear anymore because we have a new stream. That's a pain. Might have done a Piers Morgan and stormed off the stream. Yes. Damn it, I'm going home. Wait a minute, I am at home. Anyway, I want to show you this. We recorded this. So I want to show you this. The stream started off the stream. I want to show you this small funny video, and then we'll get back to the serious discussion.
You see, the thing with Piers Morgan is he's a big, steaming pile of shite. The worst fat, steaming pile of shite I've ever seen in my life. Do you ever see them piles of shite that's in the grass that goes grey and hairs start growing on them? Well, that's what he is. One of them. A big, dirty pile of hairy shite curled up in a ball, and he's no better than that, and he can't get
any better. You dirty bastard, I'm out here. Good luck. Good luck to the lassie. And you too, you bitch.
Run away.
Run away.
Fuck you. Run away.
Fuck
That's
ITV.
what you do. You see, that's what he does. That's what he does. He runs away because he's a big, steaming pile of shite. And good luck to him. I hope he never comes back. Goodbye, Piers. Have a good day, you dirty, smelly bastard.
Sounds very close to home. Is that Steve-O? Yes, it is. It's Piers Morgan Irish style. Anyway, let's move on. So Brexit, we're talking about Brexit tonight. Once again, I want to say a massive thank you to all of the super chats and that massive super chat from the last stream. Once again, apologies for YouTube messing everything up. It says here, Foster. So this is Arlene Foster. Arlene Foster brands EU reaction to protocol grace period extensions hysterical. Arlene Foster, so the leader of the DUP, has branded the European Commission's reaction to the move to delay full implementation of the new Irish trading arrangements as hysterical. The government last week unilaterally extended grace periods limiting bureaucracy linked to the Northern Ireland Protocol until October. They have been due to expire at the end of March. Beginning of April, actually. The UK also temporarily lifted the protocol's ban on plants potted in soil in Great Britain from entering Northern Ireland. The European Commission is preparing to take legal action against the government, accusing it of breaching the terms of the protocol, which governs trade in Northern Ireland's post-Brexit. UB Ulster breakdown imminent. Yes, somewhat true, Tom. Another fine young lady. Northern Ireland's First Minister, Mrs. Foster, expressed confidence the government would defend any legal action brought by the Commission. As I understand it from the Secretary of State, Brendan Lewis, last week, the Attorney General has indicated that the small moves that were made by the UK government are legal, and therefore any legal action that will be taken, I'm sure, will be fought. Well, Brandon Lewis had said that the UK government were willing to break international law in a very limited and specific manner. As far as I know, she says the Attorney General has indicated that the small moves, you either break the law or you don't. You either break the agreement or you don't. It's not, we're just slightly breaking it. I'm slightly breaking the law. I slightly killed someone. Okay. I slightly stabbed someone in the heart. Good footballer, that Arlene Foster striker. Pull the birds up the town while drawing points of English pitcher. Does she mean hysterically funny? Somewhat, yes. I don't see any evidence of any negotiations ongoing at this present moment in time. I see a lot of megaphone diplomacy, she said. This has the risk. We've seen how the loyalist community has reacted to this by saying we're willing to go back to war, basically. We're willing to throw away the Good Friday Agreement. Now, some of them actually signed up to it, some of them did not. So it's not clear whether they are the ones that actually agreed with the Good Friday Agreement or not. It's very easy to say I'm going to throw away something that I actually never agreed with in the first place. Or it could be just saber rattling. Some of them, it's allegedly they wrote a letter to Boris Johnson. Yeah, like Boris Johnson is going to read letters from loyalist paramilitaries in Northern Ireland, or loyalist, or communities that represent, I should say, loyalist paramilitaries in Northern Ireland. Like, Boris Johnson doesn't care. Boris Johnson doesn't read daily briefings. Boris Johnson didn't bother to go to the first 4 Cobra meetings. Do they honestly believe that he's going to read a letter that they sent him? Of course he's not. He doesn't care. He's never cared about Northern Ireland. He's never cared about the Unionists. It's very cute sending a letter to the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister, it's like me sending a letter to Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker. I'm a big fan of his, but I don't think he's going to read it. And definitely not going to respond to it. It's actually probably more likely that Mark Hamill would respond to a letter by me. Anyway, who writes letters anymore? But then Boris Johnson would reply to the loyalist community. Boris can read, explains a lot. So let's move on. Just sticking with Brexit, of course, good news. Some good news about. Sorry, let me highlight that. Good news for Germany. Well, not actually for Germany or for the UK. UK-German trade slumps amid Brexit and COVID fallout. First official snapshot comes after collapse of export volumes in first month of Brexit deal. So trade between the UK and Germany slumped in January. Slumped in January amid the economic fallout from Brexit and the COVID-19 pandemic in the first month after leaving the EU, according to official figures. Germany's federal statistics body said imports from the UK fell more than 56% to 1.6 billion in January, from the same month a year ago, after the end of the Brexit transition period and the start of the new trading relationship between Britain and the EU. Now, unfortunately, we don't know very much about how much trade has fallen. We only really have information from the German side. So we see here German exports to the UK have dropped by 29% to 4.3 billion euros. You know, wasn't it Digby Jones? What a name, Digby Jones. It sounds like a cartoon character. But Digby Jones, his name is Digby Jones. He had said, before Brexit, the Germans will fight tooth and nail to make sure that we stay in the single market or something like that, or we'll get a good deal because they trade so much with us. Well, here is the evidence that was all a big pile of crap. German exports fall by 29%. This is hugely damaging, and I've never said that Brexit will not be damaging to the EU. It's extremely damaging to the EU. But it's more damaging, Lord Digby Jones. You would think somebody of his caliber would just go away. Okay, he lied and he was wrong, or he lied or he didn't know what he was telling and he was wrong. You would think after such a massive mistake, he would go away and never be heard from ever again. But no, he's actually giving speeches, paid speeches. Bogdan, thank you so much for that super chat. I had a very interesting discussion about smuggling with a former colleague about smuggling. We found at least 5 easy exploits to do some. There's some money to make on the side. I'm pretty sure, because there are very few checks being carried out at the UK ports on goods coming into the UK, because the Brexiteers within the government want to avoid supermarket shelves being empty, because you can try to blame it on COVID, but once the COVID pandemic starts to wind down and Brexit starts to wind up, it's going to be more and more difficult to blame the EU or blame COVID or blame anyone else if the supermarket shelves are empty, because you have to carry out these checks. If the government don't follow through and carry out these checks on goods coming in from the EU, then you're going to start to have problems with other countries who are exporting into the UK, because they say, okay, if you're not checking EU goods, then why are you checking our goods? And if the UK say, well, we're checking EU goods because we just want to, we're not checking EU goods because we don't want to, then those countries will take it up with the WTO, and there will be fines to pay, and perhaps sanctions and tariffs, ways other countries will punish the UK. I wonder if the UK opened the gun market to USA. My God. The DUP and the Brexiteers and the Tories, the House of Fools. The sad thing about Northern Ireland is it could have all have been avoided, but they decided, no, we don't want to get out of this. We'd prefer this disaster. One other thing I want to talk about on Brexit, let me bring it up here, or about Michael Gove and the Road Haulage Association. Well, it was actually the Statistics Authority rebukes, UK Statistics Authority rebukes Gove over Brexit figures. So Michael Gove has this habit of pulling information out of his behind and present it as a fact. And then he knows that the media are on side, so they'll never actually ask any further questions. Michael Gove can say, yeah, I did X, and nobody will actually ask him any further, are you sure? Or do you have evidence to back that up? And he gets away with it. But sometimes he can't get away with it. So what's interesting here is that the Cabinet Office run by Michael Gove has been officially reprimanded by the UK Statistics Authority for using unpublished and unverifiable data in an attempt to deny that Brexit has caused a massive fall in volumes of trade through British ports. You have to think about if the government are lying about something, then it must be extremely serious. Why not just tell the truth? Yeah, say imports are down. Volumes are down. Exports, I should say. Exports are down. He pulled those figures out of his nose. No, you're thinking of Ian Duncan Smith. The criticism follows a story in The Observer on the 7th of February that cites a survey by the Road Haulage Association, I knew they were in there somewhere, of the international members showing export volumes had dropped by a staggering 68% in January through British ports and the Channel Tunnel. The RHA wrote to Gove at the time saying, intelligence that we are collecting on an ongoing basis from international hauliers suggests that the loads to the EU have reduced by as much as 68%, which can also be evidenced by the increasing number of empty trailers, which are not currently considered in the statistics. The RHA also accused Gove of failing to heed its warnings that trade would be damaged unless there was a dramatic increase in the number of customs officials. Yeah, I remember doing videos on that where the Road Haulage Association said, we're not ready. The country is not ready for Brexit. We don't have enough staff. Lorries are going to be queuing up. Now, thanks to COVID and stockpiling, some of that was mitigated, but that's going to get worse as we go forward. Bogdan, thank you so much for that. Deal is not voted by EU. The doors will slam on UK. That is a real risk at the moment. And it seems that Boris Johnson may have attempted to force the EU's hand in a way. Sorry, Max missed a bit of this. They're maybe attempting to force the EU's hand by attempting to, pressure the EU into extending these grace periods. Because I think Boris Johnson wants to extend the grace periods. And I have a feeling that he's pushing it in an attempt to force the EU to do it. Because if the EU came back and said, we're not going to extend it, then there's nothing really the UK could do. But if it would be a reaction to it, so it's better politically to extend and then try to work out something after. So let's say extend it to October, and the EU say, well, you can't be doing that, and they probably think that they can negotiate some sort of somewhere in between. But I don't think that's going to be the case. The EU are not going to accept that. It's not just a case of we're going to throw Northern Ireland under a bus. The EU have to protect the single market. They don't want your stream died. Yes, the previous ones. Josha, thank you so much for that super chat once again. I apologize for what happened. The YouTube has messed me about. It's the second time on a stream that they've done that. Apologies that your very, very kind donation disappeared because this is a second stream. Apologies for that. YouTube has done it on the second occasion. Stream was going fine, and then YouTube showed me a message saying reconnecting. But my internet was working fine. There wasn't a problem on my side. It's the second time that it's done that. And apologies for that. Thank you so much again for that amazing, very kind super chat. And I'm going to continue to make videos. I hope that they're enjoyable for you and for everyone. The Cabinet Office has responded to the Observer story with a point-by-point rebuttal of the RHA's claim on its website, stating that inbound and outbound flows across the UK ports were close to normal at 95% outbound and 96% inbound, in spite of the impact of COVID lockdowns on trade. But in a letter to Richard Luex, chief statistician at the Cabinet Office, sent on Friday following an investigation. Ed Humperson, strange name, Director General for Regulations at the Statistics Authority, expressed serious concerns at the way the department had used the data to rebut the RHA's information. So this is a bit of a battle going on between the Cabinet Office and the Road Haulage Association. But who do you trust? Do you trust Michael Gove, or do you trust the people who are actually on the ground carrying out the work? I'll leave that up to you. Chris, thank you so much for that super chat. Here's some pocket change, great content. Thank you so much for that. Very kind of you. Bogdan, once again, thank you so much for that. People don't understand that the decision is not made by one person. If I don't trust you, then I don't want to do business with you. It's that simple. Yeah, I think that's the Big Magnet. Thank you so much for that as well. Coffee money for the hamsters, or grappa, whatever they like. Grappa is always the best. Yes, Discord modes. Can you invite Joshua to? Can you send Joshua an invite to Discord? That'd be great. The least we can do, the least I can do. Oh, you don't need to invite. Okay. Whatever, if you'd like to come on, it'd be great to have you on. There's no obligation, but it'd be great to have you on if you do. They don't understand the decision by one person. There is this strange relationship between the UK government and the European Union. The European Union, as I said in one of the videos, is like a bureaucracy. It's like a ministry. It's like the tax office. While the Brexiteers seem to treat the EU like a person almost, that it has mood swings, that it's spiteful. The EU is not like that. The EU is about protecting itself, but it will use legal measures to do so. It will use whatever powers it has to protect itself, to protect the single market. But it doesn't, it's not, people seem to think that it acts out of spite. It's too big as of an entity in order to do that. Robert, thank you so much for that super chat. What do you think the Conservatives and Boris Johnson's ultimate endgame here is? The EU's patience won't last forever. I can't see a halfway between returning to the customs union or a hard Brexit for the UK. It's difficult to see how this is going to turn out, because you have to try and get inside Boris Johnson's mind. That's the problem, because there are Brexiteers, who want Boris Johnson to do something, and then there are the civil servants who want him to do something different, and there's the Conservative Party that wants him to do something different. So there's a struggle between doing. And then there's Boris Johnson himself, because Boris Johnson's objective is to defend Boris Johnson, to protect his position. He doesn't want to be kicked out. And he's playing a sort of game between the majority of the party and the Brexiteers within the party, the hardline, like the hard man, Steve Baker and other lunatic fringe. He's afraid of those people because, they can be contained, but they can also create a lot of problems for him. And he knows that from one day to the next, there's a possibility that he could be kicked out. At the moment he's flying quite high. He's doing well in the polls, and he's in a pretty strong position. But what is the ultimate game here? It's hard to tell, because a no-deal Brexit would create massive disruption. Now, I fear what they're trying to do is they're trying to protect. You have to think about. Sorry, I'm a bit trying to formulate my thoughts here. Everything is done on a day-to-day basis. I've said this before, even when I was talking about Theresa May, when Theresa May was Prime Minister. Everything is tactical and nothing is strategic, in the sense that everything is about what can I get away with today, but to hell with the consequences in the long term. I'll focus on the long term when it arrives. I'm not going to actually focus on the long term today. I'm going to see about what I can do. And this was, it was quite terrible to watch how Theresa May would, be kissing the arse of the ERG one day and then trying to keep the Remainers within the party happy the next day. And she was playing this balance. And then Boris Johnson just sort of did away with the balance and played to the ERG and sort of satisfied their wants and needs and requirements. But the problem with these people is that they always want more. And the more you give them, the more they want. And I think the Brexiteers and the Conservative Party think that they can play the EU in a similar way. They can demand things and the EU will give it, and then they can demand more. But I don't think that's going to work. Whether they know that or not, I don't know. They should know. They should know that the EU is not a pushover, that the EU will not be threatened. We've seen it before how Boris Johnson was threatening, Northern Ireland, and then he backed down. So I think what's probably going to happen is that the grace periods may be extended in some way. Some of them may be extended, but it'll be on the EU's terms. I think, as always, Ireland will be crucial here. Ireland will work as a facilitator between Britain and the EU. And it's actually in the UK's interest to work with Ireland as a facilitator. It's important to use, because Ireland is, in a way, it's on the UK's side because it wants peace in Northern Ireland, but it's on the EU side because it's a member of the EU. It's in a good position. And sadly, I see the Brexiteers treating Ireland with contempt in a way, when they should actually be using it as an ally. But the EU's patience, no. The EU, I think, will force some sort of settlement on the grace periods, and I think we'll move on. The loyalist community will be angry for a bit, but it will die down, and we'll move on to something else. I think it's about maybe trying to fix some of the teething problems if we can. Some of the things will not be fixed. They can't be. They're permanent. They're a consequence of Brexit. And I think there will be an attempt by the Brexiteers and Boris Johnson to sweep a lot of things under the carpet and to ignore the Brexiteers in Northern Ireland, the DUP. Because you can also see how the rhetoric from the DUP has somewhat calmed. They're always bombastic about the EU. They're always threatening the EU. Or they're always criticizing the EU, but their language has changed somewhat. They've gone from threatening behavior to insulting behavior, and I think that's actually a climb down. So perhaps things may be actually calming down. I hope that's the case. Thanks for that, Robert. I hope I answered that question. It was a bit muddled, but I do hope I answered it some way. Bogdan, thanks for that super chat. No deal. Can and will plummet UK's credit rating. I think they want to avoid no deal. I don't think they want to crash out without a deal. I don't think they want to. I think this is all part of a tactic to buy time, to kick the can down the road. But the can may be kicked down the road in some way with these grace periods. But they can't continue to do it. It's not a case of we'll kick the can down until October, and then when October arrives, we'll kick it again. Because the EU won't accept that. So Boris Johnson will accept it. Boris Johnson has always talked about it. I'm not going to accept this, I'm not going to accept that. And he accepts it. It's always about, I won't accept it until he accepts it. And even today, he's saying that there is no border in the Irish Sea. Or maybe not today, but a few weeks ago he was saying it. When it was clear that there is a border in the Irish Sea, he was continuing to deny it. Tom, thank you so much for that super chat. Every lie we tell incurs a debt to the truth. Sooner or later that debt is paid. Tick tock, tick tock, tick. Very good. And whoa, I have goosebumps on the back of my neck from Chernobyl. Yes, it was red. It was the comment from Chernobyl, and it's true. Boris Johnson is building up a lot of debt, and the Tories, it will eventually be paid. How it will be paid remains to be seen. So, guys, we're over the time for this for the stream tonight. I want to say, don't go yet because we have our one for the road. Talked a lot about UBI. I hadn't actually planned to talk about UBI. I had something on the back burner, but I was able to pull it out. I want to say thanks to who it was that posted that video on Discord. So I want to say before we finish, massive thank you to everyone who sent a super chat, especially that massive super chat by where is the name? Yoshan. I want to say massive thank you to Yosha for that super chat. It's the biggest super chat ever received, and if you'd like to come on Discord, you're more than welcome. If you don't worry, that's no obligation. Thank you so much for that. I want to thank everyone who's come on the stream tonight. I want a massive thank you also to the moderators for doing a fantastic job as always. Excuse me. Remember, the next live stream is on Friday, same bat time, same bat channel, but don't go yet because we have our one for the road. Let me bring it up here. It's another Piers Morgan, more or less Piers Morgan.
Is that you, Piers? How you doing, son? I saw it. I saw you walking off the set. I mean, but to be honest, I know you're not going to like the truth. Stop shouting, calm down, eat another donut. Calm down. Calm down. No, your mouth is still full, calm down. Listen, you've been on that telly shouting about Meghan for years. People are starting to think it's creepy, Piers. The guy was right. You're in a bad mood. You walked off because you couldn't accept the truth. You went on and on and on and on about Meghan Markle like a fucking distraught teenage boyfriend that stands at her window shouting on her. You can't do that to people, Piers. I know I'm your friend and I'm giving you the truth. Right, is your mouth empty? Right, I can hear you now. You're just going to have to calm down, Piers. You walked off the telly and you behaved like a big spoilt fucking Wayne. Everybody saw you. Well, you need to stop, what is it you want Meghan Markle to do? What do you actually want out of this? Do you want her flung in the street with a fucking big red X on her and folk to hit her with apples as she rings a bell shouting shame? I mean, it's not like you've got a clean past either, is it? I mean, let's be honest. I'm your pal, Piers. Look, as soon as this is over, we'll go down the Ivy. We'll have a couple of cocktails and chat about it. No, you're fine. Look, just put on your best suit, comb your hair, a wee bit of hair gel, spray a wee bit of Old Spice on and get back on the telly tomorrow. You just need to lay off shouting at the woman. It was International Women's Day and you spent fucking hours shouting at a woman you don't like. Right. Are you alright now? Right. Have a wee cup of tea. Chamomile tea's good. Right, I'll see you later, pal. Bye. Oh, I can't believe How did he get my number? I never gave him it. That's unusual.
As always, fantastic. Old Spice. Cam Dune. So, once again, thank you to everyone who's come on the stream tonight. Thank you so much for that super chat, especially that massive super chat. Once greatly appreciated. I hope the UBI was interesting. I will talk about UBI again in the future. I hope to have a guest on to talk about UBI who will be able to answer your questions, my questions on UBI and other issues. I want to sort some streams out with some guests. So everyone have a great week, and I'll see you all on Friday for another live stream. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9:30 GMT. So as Boris Johnson always says, stay alert. So guys, have a great evening, and I'll see all of you again very soon. Good night.